Hello and a very warm welcome. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. You're watching Hard Reset Cinema after COVID-19. Now, from a global perspective, India's film industry represents the country's soft power. Not only does it generate revenue and employment, movie theatres are also a vital part of the Indian social life. And yet, cinema is one of the sectors in the Indian economy that's worst hit by the impact of coronavirus. And so as the business of cinema comes to a grinding halt, we at WION explore the various aspects of this crisis today, from its monetary impact to cinema's new landscape. We assess the slew of challenges with our esteemed panelists. Let me now take the opportunity to introduce them to you. Mr. Siddharth Jain, the director of the Inox Group; Ms. Guneet Monga, Oscar-winning film producer and founder of Sikhya Entertainment; Mr. Pradeep Dwivedi, CEO, India Eros International Media Limited, also the head of their OTT platform, Eros Now. I'm also joined in by Indian actor Mr. Kabir Bedi. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for sparing your precious time. Now, the excitement of a fresh Friday release is being sorely missed. I don't even remember when was the last time I watched a film in a theatre. I think it was Chhapaak. Guneet, if I may ask you, when was the last time you watched a film in a movie hall?
I saw it one day before the lockdown, and it was Angrezi Medium. I was very happy to go see Angrezi Medium in cinemas.
All right. All right. And speaking of the impact of coronavirus now on the whole sector of, say, film, as far as the film industry is concerned, so that to get a sense of the figures, what is the estimated monetary impact of this crisis, and how are multiplexes and cinema halls coping with it? Also, when can we expect theatres to reopen?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on your show. It's a pleasure being part of this panel. As you very rightly said, that the Indian cinema industry has been one of the ones that has been impacted the most. And we were the first to close, starting from 11th of March all the way till the 24th of March. Various states shut us down at various stages, and presumably we will be the last to open. Of course, the entire theatrical exhibition space is one of the largest employers, in the industry and for the services sector. And it has been a very difficult period for all of us. I don't think anyone ever imagined to have zero revenues for a whole quarter. And of course, June, and we hope that in the month of July, towards the end of July, we should be allowed to restart the cinemas. That's basically because the government allowed malls to open from the 8th of June onwards. And it is our assumption that in 6 to 8 weeks from the times when malls have been allowed to open, I think the cinemas will be allowed to open as well. From a monetary loss perspective, on an average, I think the Indian cinema industry, from a box office perspective, did about 1,000 crores a month. And with ancillary revenues on top of that, another 500 crores a month. So in these 3 months alone, or 3.5 months, we've already lost about 5,000 crores as the entire cinema exhibition sector, and of course all the stakeholders around that, including the filmmakers.
Right, 5,000 crore. That's like a huge amount, especially when you're just talking about exhibition per se. So, Guneet, we were speaking to Siddharth. As far as the exhibition bit is concerned, he stated a rough figure of 5,000 crore. How has the industry dealt in terms of stall production and distribution?
I mean, everything just came on a complete standstill, and there were fairly big films that were the biggest films of the year slotted to release in this quarter. So it was from Suryavanshi to 83 in South. It was Surya Rai Potru, Master in Tamil. So there were lots of big films ready to release in this phase. And that has clearly impacted us in a big way. But also all the stalled productions has brought in a new challenge of survival for many daily wages. For many people, it's been very, very hard. And productions, including TV, films, have come to a complete standstill. So I won't have a number, but I do want to say that it has been an extremely, extremely challenging, and it's kind of a new problem that we are all dealing with. Have never faced something like this before. Right. So this is a global crisis, and our industry, especially like was said, we were the first ones to stop.
Right. It's interesting that you mentioned daily wage earners. That actually brings me to my next question, which I'd like to take from Mr. Kabir Bedi. Kabir, how is the industry helping people involved with the production of TV shows and movies in terms of job security, etc., especially the daily wage earners, as Guneet also mentioned?
Well, various associations are doing their bits, giving allowances to workers. Certain stars are also helping in their own way. But the fact is, everyone's really badly affected. This is a pandemic that's affected the whole world, and we are all in it together. Now, even though less than 1% of the world's population is infected, 99% of the world's population is affected. And we have to get used to a whole new post-COVID world, a world which will never be like the good old days again. We have to adapt to a whole new environment. And the fact of the matter is, right now with shootings, etc., being talked about, government saying, okay, we'll give you permission, then certain people saying, no, not right. Things haven't even started properly right now. Some producers have gone to green zones in Gujarat, like Umbergaon, etc. Production started again in Hyderabad, in Karnataka, in Kolkata, various places. But in the Mumbai region, this has basically not happened. And since this is the home of the majority of production in the Hindi language and covers a huge market, a lot of people affected in the industry, especially the actors and technicians and crew, have been severely affected by this shutdown. And whether they're daily wage earners or not, even if they're contract actors, all of their incomes have stopped. And the fact of the matter is, business has to get back to a functional level in every industry, not just the film industry. And we have to find ways to make this work with adequate safeguards. But business has to go on, because in this industry, the worst affected we know are the theaters, then the distributors, then together production and actors. The OTT and TV people actually might even benefit in the medium term, but in the short term, they still have various things under production which are stopped. So
right.
The whole industry is affected by this.
It's interesting that you mentioned how theatres and cinemas have been affected. On that bit, I'm going to actually go to Siddharth for this question. Siddharth, the OTT platforms, talking of the changing landscape of cinema, have of course led to a paradigm shift. Now, in terms of business, what has that meant for the multiplexes and cinema halls?
So I won't call it a paradigm shift. I would just call it, where it's not an equal battle. When the theaters are not operational, there is no other place to go other than OTT. I think what would be fair to compare is when the theaters are operational.
All right, so there's no comparison at the moment.
Yeah, so it's a bit unfair. And I think content owners who might be under certain financial pressures are looking to OTT to release their content, and nothing wrong with that. But it's just that our theatre owners are also suffering at this point in time. And when we are allowed to open in July, hopefully, we do need content, fresh content to show. Most people would only come to a movie cinema to watch new content. And, we would hope that the entire content creators, the filmmakers would stand by us, and most of them have. All the big films, 83, Suryavanshi, etc., Coolie #1, they have all committed to stay back and do the theatrical release. So we really appreciate the support, and we can't wait to welcome everyone back to the movies.
Right. Let's hope cinema remains as timeless as it has always been. And speaking of OTT, let me actually bring in Pradeep on that note. Pradeep, if I could bring you in on this, what's the silver lining to the overall cinematic process, creative or financial, in terms of the video streaming services?
So, there is a supply side equation of this ecosystem, which obviously has been impacted severely, as Guneet and some of the others, Kabir, also pointed out. It is a reality that the fresh production of movies, web originals and series has got severely, debilitated, because we can't really go out and shoot, and the permissions that are coming in aren't really adequate enough for us to put the productions back on schedule. But in terms of demand and the consumption side, we have seen an extraordinary growth in the platforms, and I think that is more a constraint of the time rather than anything else. People are locked up at home. They really don't have too many alternatives. And for lack of alternatives, you see a much greater level of engagement with streaming platforms. And going beyond the initial screens of the top marquee movies and content that's available, people are trying to discover deep content which is lying inside. In fact, going back some to legacy content and older content that appeals to sensibilities, which, at least the middle-aged population would have sort of grown up seeing. And also just the sheer diversity of various genres that are now getting, attention of the people in the OTT streaming platforms. That's working very well. But I think it would be unfair to kind of assume that the OTT benefit or gain is a temporary phenomenon, or it is something that is a flash in the pan caused primarily by the pandemic. I think if you look at the last 10 years trend, the whole concept of digital consumption of entertainment content has really been accelerating. I think the march of technology never really stops. From single screen theaters and movies releasing in a weekend in a limited number of screens, you went on to multiplexes and you had VHS, DVD, VCDs coming in. And this is just another technology that kind of is the prevailing technology at this point of time. And who knows, going forward, we will have augmented reality, virtual reality, where people will actually be able to engage with the cinema in a completely different experience. So the way we look at it is that this is an opportunity to reset your priorities in terms of investment on multiple fronts, on technology and on content plan. As long as we keep telling compelling stories, it will definitely be meaningful.
That's a very interesting point, Pradeep, that you've made. I'd actually like to ask Siddharth if he agrees with you. Siddharth, do you think that there can be a sort of synergy that can be brought in between OTT platform and traditional cinema?
Personally, I'm a consumer of OTT and I love some of the short feature programs, the series that they are. There is some content like Game of Thrones, which I think, deserve to be shown on a big screen. I think there are certain genres of content that are made for OTT, whether it's the drama series and so on and so forth. But, to be honest, at the end of the day, it all depends on the content creator and the filmmaker, and at the same time the consumer. What is it that they want? Does a content creator and all their stakeholders, including the actors around it, if they want to be shown on a big screen, so be it. If they prefer to be shown on a home viewing option, so be it. And similarly, a consumer can decide what kind of content would they rather see on the big screen and what kind of content would they rather see on OTT. In addition, I think OTT has been a big help to the theatrical business. Because in fact it has brought in a lot more revenue into the entire filmmaking stream, which is encouraging more films to be made and better quality films to be made. It's all about the quality of the script and storytelling at the end of the day that's going to bring in the consumers. So the more money that flows into the entire value chain, it helps everybody. And the current windowing that exists with a movie first releasing theatrically and then going to OTT really helps the filmmaker take out maximum value for the film as well.
It's very interesting to see how you've actually called the OTT platforms as an additional asset to the cinema industry. On that note, Guneet, during the lockdown, in terms of content for the OTT, be it Gulabo Sitabo, Choked, or even Bhosle, we've seen a plethora of digital releases. How has digital streaming impacted film promotions and the overall craft of cinema for somebody like you, per se, who's a producer?
So I would say, as an independent producer, OTT has been a advantage from making a film like a short documentary like Period End of Sentence that Netflix put out in 190 plus countries, ended up starting a whole movement. It was a global movement that we were part of by a short film. But, that is something that is the power of OTT for that particular size of content. It was something that we saw a phenomenal outreach. And for a cinematic experience, when you see films like Gravity, you see, where you need a cinema experience. I think cinemas have played a vital role in continuing and letting us dream and tell our stories and reach out to and get people involved very deeply in the experience of cinema. I think that's what a lot of filmmakers strive to, is creating experiences. Having said that, OTT coming in and having a lot of original movies, I think has empowered a whole lot of independent filmmakers. It's also expensive for independent filmmakers to reach cinemas. Films like Bhosle, films like the Hughley films of Saregama. It is an expensive cost of distribution, of marketing to reach to cinemas. So OTTs the emergence of OTTs has just added a whole avenue for a lot of younger filmmakers to continue being encouraged to tell their craft, to be, for a lot of first-time directors to be able to tell their stories. So it is, I think there is advantages of both the elements, and as a producer, one needs to realize what is the best for the content and for the outreach of the length and of the size of the content.
All right. Now, speaking of digital streaming, let me also go back to Pradeep. Pradeep, how will the role of film certification authorities change as more movies release on OTT platforms, which so far has also been an uncensored medium?
See, I think there are two ways to look at it. One is that clearly there is a kind of content which, because it's placed in server overseas, allows people digital access on a universal basis, and there isn't significant enough dominion control of the central board of certification of any particular country. And I think that trend will continue to be there. Having said that, I think in India, at least the streaming platforms such as ourselves and some of the others who are there are also adopting self-governance code of conduct to make sure transgressing norms that is anathema to our society and our culture, that we are able to produce content and clearly have advisories around age certifications, etc. there. Bottom line is that all the movies that are going straight to OTT or the movies that have traditionally been playing on OTT platforms have all had their censor certifications, and we have not taken any of the unedited version or uncensored versions of movies in terms of playing that. But having said that, there is a lot of content outside of movies, especially on web original series, where these sensitivities need to be maintained and managed. Now, there was another very parallel discussion of a similar nature, where it was said that every country has its own filter or lens through which it looks at what content needs to be censored and what content does not. I think India will evolve and get to that stage pretty quickly, till such time as that happens from a regulatory control standpoint. And if we wish as an industry not to have regulatory controls overbearing us and controlling us and our creative instincts, it's imperative on us as producers, as part of the ecosystem, to make sure that we are doing it right by the audiences, that it's not purely commercial interests that are being placed at the front, but we are balancing the interests of the wide variety of audiences that view our content.
Kabir, I would like to ask you, in terms of job security, how is the Indian film industry dealing with unemployment?
Well, job security is of various kinds. One is a financial job security. Right now, I think what people are more concerned about is physical security. Because whereas a lot of actors can take considered adult decisions and say, I'm willing to take the risk provided safeguards are in place to go and shoot a scene, right. The real question comes, what happens if you're asked to walk through a crowd scene? What happens if you're asked to do a choreographed scene which involves all kinds of people in your proximity? What are the safeguards there? Because ultimately people are concerned about their health. And whereas I accept nothing in life is risk-free, but the fact of the matter is this is a highly infectious virus, and therefore we have to find ways not to impact the livelihoods and the health of actors, junior or senior artists, who will be put in situations where they are potentially open to danger.
I'm going to come to that aspect also in terms when we speak about social distancing as the new norm. But Siddharth, has the Multiplex Association of India raised any demands to the government? How responsive has the government been?
So, we had raised certain demands from a financial perspective to help out the industries, especially all the employees that we have. And, we're just one of the hundreds of industries that have made representations to the government. We've had multiple discussions with them. They've been extremely supportive, but we can't expect any financial incentives at this stage unless the government is going to have to address a plethora of industries, not just ours at the same time. We have been representing to the government all the safety norms that we plan on following as well. When we are allowed to open, various state governments have approached us, asking us to define those, which we have, and we intend on following those extremely strict guidelines when we are allowed to open.
All right. Now, I'll have to quickly jump on to the topic of social distancing. I was talking about it with Kabir. How will social distancing impact actors, especially in terms of hair and makeup? How are actors taking to this new normal? Do they have any reservations?
Well, essentially, I really don't see that being a problem with makeup and hair people, because obviously people know they're going to be in proximity. There can be sufficient safeguards put into place that your makeup person or your hair person is either not in a position to give you that, and we assume that in general people come with good intentions, are not deliberately spreading anything, but the spread, inadvertent spread, can also be controlled. That's not the worry. The worry is going into situations where there are a lot of people, crowds, for instance, crowd scene.
Right.
You walk through, you're dealing with groups of people that you're weaving through. Those are the things that really is something that we really need to be careful about. And I'm not sure what the answer is, but I think with a little goodwill on everybody and a little care on people being careful, this can be done. Nothing in life is risk-free. It can be reduced to the level of an acceptable risk, and that's all that's really needed.
And speaking of acceptable risk, actually, let me take this question from Guneet. The new shoot guidelines come with a lot of restrictions, which can make shooting difficult as well. How ready are the actors, producers and directors for this new shooting arrangement, Guneet? Most importantly, are these guidelines even practical?
You know, a couple of ad shoots have happened in Film City, and to see those pictures and to see everybody wearing PPE kits, maintaining social distancing, it is something, again, a very new world order. I keep hoping that we are all one vaccine away from being normal and going back to our original lives. But as the industry needs to open up and the shoot needs to start, I think this is a large part of our conversation right now, of setting up temperature checks, oximeters at the set, of setting up, I think as a producer, we need to be far, far more planned. It is a huge responsibility on the producer for safety of everyone.
Right.
There is a conversation that's happening. I understand the TV community was planning to get started, but there is still a lot of conversation that is going on. I don't think we have a clear answer if we can down to flaws.
Perhaps effective planning is going to be the answer. I'm running short of time, but there's so much I want to talk about with you people. So let me also touch upon the creative aspect. You know, Guneet, every crisis paves way for more creativity. We have been confronted with an unprecedented scenario. Do you think it will also impact movie making, the craft of filmmaking? Should we now expect more realistic cinema, perhaps based on pandemics?
You know, I think movies is an experience, and I just wanted to say, because we are all gathered here to talk about cinemas and theaters, I personally don't feel the cinemas will go anywhere or they are threatened. Yes, this is a tough phase. This has been a very tough quarter, but we love our movies and we will all bounce back. I think, yes, the stories will be impacted as long as the virus is there. But on the optimistic side of it, this virus will go, the vaccine will come, and we will be back to our cinemas. I still think that we have the least number of cinemas than anywhere else in the whole world as per 1 million per capita in terms of screen space. So I do think that people will come and celebrate, because the community experience is not really going to go anywhere.
All right.
The sense of celebrating movies is not really going to go anywhere.
So I take your optimism as those closing thoughts from you. Now, I'd also like to listen in from Siddharth, Kabir and of course Pradeep. How, in your opinion, will media and entertainment consumption change post-COVID? Let's begin with Siddharth.
Well, first of all, I think this entire COVID period is going to be an opportunity and for millions of stories to come out across the world. And I can already see hundreds of movies being made, on this pandemic, and so many different stories coming out from different places. The film entertainment business isn't going anywhere. In fact, I think it's only going to become stronger. People want to go out. Indians are social animals. Of course, people do feel safe at home, and we are committed at Inox to making you feel as safe as you are at home at Inox. So I do feel that that the film exhibition business is just going to get stronger and stronger going forward.
Right. Pradeep, your thoughts?
Clearly, I'm a firm believer of human resilience, and I think the human interest stories that will emerge from here will make us better as film producers.
It is going to be very interesting. We do hope that there's light at the end of this tunnel. Kabir, your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I won't get into the exhibition and distribution side of it, but this time that the lockdown has given us will certainly create some amazing stories, and not just stories about the lockdown and COVID. Stories in general, because normally writers and creative people are so under pressure to perform and deliver and give scripts on time and try and find ways to sell it. This has been a time where you could take the time and really use that time to create great stories without the pressure on your head of having to deliver something tomorrow or next week. And I believe great cinema will come out of the lockdown and the time created by the lockdown.
Thank you so much. Here's awaiting that great cinema, as you clearly mentioned, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this discussion with all of you. As Winston Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. Here's hoping it comes with its set of learning and opportunities. And with that, it's a wrap of Hard Reset. Thank you so much for watching. You were watching our special edition on cinema post-COVID-19.